The jungle hums with an unsettling rhythm. The thick air presses down, clinging to skin, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and decay. The whispering trees seem to hold their breath as a dark figure moves closer to the sacred spring, each step reverberating like a silent drum. The land is alive, restless, aware of what is to come. The spring, its waters glowing faintly under the growing darkness, calls out in a language only the earth understands. The jungle knows, but it waits. Barefoot, with the confidence of innocence, the child steps through the underbrush, her feet soft against the wet earth. She is unafraid. Her eyes, wide with wonder, fixate on the spring before her, its waters shimmering like a mirror to another world. Her movements are deliberate, slow, almost hypnotic. The jungle seems to hold its breath, the night growing still as she approaches the dangerous edge, unaware of the ancient danger that lurks in its depths. From the shadows, the elders watch, their faces etched with worry. Their eyes, deep and knowing, follow the child's every step. The air thickens with the weight of unspoken words, a fear that no one dares acknowledge. She must not drink from the spring, one murmurs, his voice tight, though none move to stop her. The curse that has haunted their village for generations stirs once more. It's too late for warnings. The jungle has already chosen its path. The child kneels, her fingers brushing the surface of the water. In one swift motion, she drinks deeply. Her eyes widen as the curse takes root. Her body shudders violently, convulsing as though caught in the grip of 1,000 hands. The whispers of the jungle grow louder, a chorus of anguish rising as the child is pulled deeper into the water's dark hold. Her breath catches in her throat, and with a final desperate cry, her body sinks into the depths. The jungle is silent once more. An elder, his face pale with fear, rushes forward. "No!" he shouts, his voice cracking like a breaking branch. But it is too late. His cry is swallowed by the jungle, absorbed by the night. The child's life is already claimed, and the village must now face the inevitable return of the curse. The elders stand frozen, knowing that there is no saving what has been lost to the water. From the darkness, a figure emerges, a shadow in the shape of a man, his presence chilling. Luyanda, the outcast, known to few and understood by fewer, steps forward. His eyes, filled with knowledge of the spring's dark secret, burn through the dim light. His motives are unclear, wrapped in mystery and fear, but he does not hesitate. He moves as one who has walked this path before. The villagers whisper his name in dread. He is both salvation and damnation. The villagers stand frozen in place, their eyes wide with horror, unable to act. The curse has returned, and with it, the fear of what comes next. They know the stories, how the spring claims lives, how it feeds on the souls of the innocent. They cannot look away, yet no one dares to take the first step forward. Fear holds them in place, like animals caught in a trap, unsure of what to do next. Luyanda looks out at the frozen village, his gaze sharp, calculating. He steps forward, his voice low and steady. "The curse can be broken," he says, though his words send a ripple of unease through the crowd. He knows the way, but the path is fraught with peril. His eyes flicker to the spring, the water now calm, its deadly allure undisturbed. What he asks will cost much, but it's the only way to save them all. The villagers are silent, unsure whether to trust the one who has always been an outsider, the one who knows too much. Luyanda walks through the village, his head low and his steps deliberate, the eyes of the people burning into his back. He is an outcast, branded by the village for knowing too much about the ancient rites, the rituals that the elders claim have kept the curse at bay. They call him cursed, his presence a reminder of secrets that should remain buried. His connection to the sacred spring runs deeper than anyone dares acknowledge, a bond forged in silence and shadow. No one dares approach him. The spring has claimed too many already, and Luyanda is seen as one of its heralds. Amina stands apart from the crowd, her heart heavy with grief. Her brother's death still haunts her, the memory of his final breath twisted by the curses. Hold on him. The village mourns, but it moves on, accepting the loss as inevitable. Not Amina. She has seen too much in the wake of her brother's death. Too much to believe that the spring is simply a force of nature. She knows that there are secrets hidden in the water, secrets that have claimed the lives of too many. No, one dares question the elders, but Amina has never been one to follow blindly. She's determined to learn the truth, even if it means walking a path that will lead her into darkness. The elders whisper among themselves, their voices soft, tinged with fear. The water queen, they say, lives in the spring. She is the spirit of the forest, a guardian of balance, but also a force of destruction. Every child who drinks from the water dies, their life claimed by the curse that binds them to the queen's will. Some believe the water queen is a blessing, offering the village protection from evil. Others fear her wrath, knowing the price of disturbing the waters. But none dare speak against her. None except Luyanda. Amina's parents, clinging to tradition, urge her to abandon her search. The old ways are sacred, they tell her. We must not question them. But Amina sees the cracks in their faith, the uncertainty in their eyes. They have lost too much to the curse, and yet they remain bound by it. Fear runs deep in her family, fear of change, fear of confronting the truth. But Amina cannot accept their silence. She must know the truth, no matter the cost. The village is filled with the haunting stories of the Water Queen. Elders speak in hushed tones about the dangers of the spring, its deadly pull. A child who drinks from it will never return. The village has lived under her shadow for generations, and yet the curse has not been lifted. Amina hears the stories, but they are no longer enough to keep her at bay. She knows the answers lie within the spring itself. Luyanda feels the pull of the spring, in his bones a force he cannot escape. He knows its power, its dangers, and yet he is drawn to it. There is something in the water, something that calls to him. He has seen the curse, felt it firsthand. The villagers do not understand him, and he does not care. He knows the truth. They all do. The spring holds the answers to their future, but it demands a heavy price. Luyanda has paid that price, and he will pay it again if it means breaking the cycle that has bound them all. The village continues its daily rituals, its traditions passed down through generations. The elders gather, performing rites to honor their ancestors, to keep the spirits of the forest at peace. But as the days pass, the whispers grow louder. Some question whether these rituals still hold any power, whether they are merely empty gestures to appease the spirits. Amina's growing doubts stir unease in the village, for change is not something easily accepted. The old ways are all they have left, and to challenge them is to risk losing everything. The tension between the old ways and the search for truth grows stronger. Amina's journey into the heart of the mystery begins to shake the very foundation of the village. The villagers watch with fearful eyes, unsure of what will come next. They fear what will happen if the past is questioned, if the curse is confronted. But Amina is determined. The forest, too, seems to sense the change, its whispers growing louder, as if the very trees are aware of the coming storm. Something is awakening in the jungle, something ancient, something powerful, and Amina is at the heart of it. The air is thick with anticipation, the forest alive with a presence that no one can name. As Amina moves closer to the truth, the world around her seems to shift. The curse, the ancient forces, the spring, it is all connected, but the price of knowledge is steep. Amina glares at Luyanda, frustration simmering beneath her calm exterior. They have been traveling together for days, forced by fate to share this dangerous journey, but there is no trust between them. Luyanda's silence stings more than his words ever could. He knows something she's sure of, and yet he refuses to speak. Every step deeper into the jungle feels like a betrayal, each crack of a branch underfoot echoing like a reminder of the distance between them. Luyanda moves ahead without a word, his pace steady, his thoughts hidden. Amina watches his back, eyes narrowing. What is he hiding? She knows he has walked this path before, knows it better than anyone, yet he withholds the most crucial piece of information, the truth about the cursed spring. They both understand the stakes. If they fail, if the village is not saved, all will be lost. But there is a dark tension that fills the air, one that has nothing to do with the threat of the spring and everything to do with the secrets Luyanda carries. The village whispers, tales of children who disappear, stories of villagers who went too far in seeking the truth about the spring, only to be cast out or lost to the forest. The elders tell these stories as warnings, but Amina knows the truth. The villagers are too scared to face what's buried in the water. Amina is not like them. She won't stop until she knows what really happened to her brother. She won't stop until she understands the curse that claimed so many lives. One night, as the jungle quiets, Amina uncovers a terrible truth. The spring is not merely a death trap. It is something much older, much more powerful. It is a gateway to a force that binds the very land itself, a force that controls the villages, survival and doom alike. The whispers of the Water Queen are not just stories. They are a warning. The spring is the heart of this power, its beating pulse a constant reminder of the pact made long ago. Amina's heart races. She turns to Luyanda, her voice sharp with accusation. He knows all of this. The village's elders know too. They have all kept silent, bound by a promise made long ago, the pact with the Water Queen. The village's ancestors struck a deal, protection in exchange for a sacrifice. Every year a child's life was given to fuel the power of the spring, to keep the land safe. But the cost is high, too high. Luyanda's face hardens. He cannot deny it. The pact is real, and it has been passed down from generation to generation, its price paid with the lives of innocent children. He looks at Amina, his eyes full of regret and sorrow. She does not understand. How could she? She has no idea what it is like to live with the knowledge of the pact, to carry the weight of its consequences. He made a choice long ago to stay silent, to protect the village by maintaining the curse. But now, as Amina confronts him, he begins to question his decision. You want to break the curse? Luyanda's voice is low, almost a growl. Do you understand what that would mean? The village will die. The forest will take us all. But Amina is undeterred. She has already seen the truth. The curse is not just a force of destruction. It is a force that can be undone, though the cost is greater than anything they have faced before. A ritual exists, a dangerous one that could break the cycle. It would be a risk, one that could tear the village apart or free them from the Water Queen's grasp forever. Amina feels the weight of the decision pressing down on her. If she does nothing, more children will die. But if she takes the risk, she may destroy everything. Luyanda steps back, haunted by the past. His eyes flicker with something deep, something dark. He knows the village's fate is in their hands now. He could choose to stand with Amina, to break the curse and face the consequences. But his past is a shadow, and it may not be so easy to break free of the pact. The forest seems to close in around them, the whispering trees a reminder of the ancient power that controls their lives. The past looms over them both, a shadow that cannot be outrun. Amina and Luyanda must decide. Will they risk everything to break the curse? Or will they uphold the pact that has kept the village alive for so many generations? The price of protection is steep, and no one can predict what breaking the cycle will unleash. But one thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again. The night crackles with tension as Amina and Luyanda, standing at the edge of the cursed spring, prepare to perform the ritual. A few villagers stand behind them, their faces drawn tight with fear and uncertainty. The air feels thick, as if the very land is holding its breath, waiting for what comes next. Each step toward the spring feels heavier than the last. Amina's heart races. She is ready to face the spirits, to confront the Water Queen, and to break the curse that has haunted her people for so long. But she knows the dangers. They all do. The whispers of the forest grow louder, as if the trees themselves are warning them of the chaos to come. Suddenly, the ground shakes. The air grows cold, and the wind howls through the trees, signaling the awakening of dark forces. The spirits of the land, angered by the disturbance, lash out in fury. Villagers stumble, disoriented by the powerful force that rises around them. The earth cracks open and shadows stretch across the land. It is as though the very soul of the village is being torn apart. Amina's breath catches as she sees it. There, in the swirling mist rising from the spring, the face of the Water Queen begins to form. Her features are twisted, her eyes burning, with a cold fury. No longer a protector, she reveals herself to be a vengeful spirit, trapped in a cycle of bloodshed, demanding sacrifice to fuel her unnatural power. The truth slams into Amina's chest. The Water Queen is no guardian, no deity to be revered, but a force of darkness that thrives on death and suffering. The ritual must be stopped. With a voice that trembles with anger and fear, Amina demands the truth. "This isn't protection, this is a curse!" she shouts. The villagers around her, sensing the shift in power, begin to murmur. Some hesitate, unsure of what to do. Tradition has always told them that the ritual must be completed to survive. But Amina knows what must be done. As she steps forward, preparing to end the ritual, Luyanda's voice cracks through the tension, pulling her back. His face is pale, his body stiff with the weight of his confession. "Amina, I am descended from the Water Queen," he says, his voice barely above a whisper. "Her blood runs through my veins. I have always known, but I was bound by the curse. I thought I could protect the village by keeping the secret, but now I see the truth. The curse will never end unless I break it." Amina stares at him, shocked, her mind reeling from the revelation. The man she had trusted, the one who had guided her through the darkness, is tied to the very force they sought to destroy. Her fists clench. He is not just a bystander. He is part of the curse. But she sees the pain in his eyes, the burden he carries. This is his chance for redemption. The time has come to make a choice. "No," Amina says, her voice steady and strong. "I will break the cycle, not with bloodshed, but with defiance." As she steps toward the spring, the ground trembles again, louder this time. The spirits scream in fury, shaking the earth beneath them. The spring erupts in a violent burst of fiery energy, its waters boiling, the power of the curse threatening to consume them all. The wind howls, as if the ancestors themselves are calling out in protest. Amina stands firm, her heart set on breaking the chain that has held them captive for so long. But then, in a final desperate act, Luyanda steps forward. His face is filled with resignation, but also a fierce determination. "Amina, you can't do this alone," he says, his voice low but resolute. "If the curse is to be broken, it will require a sacrifice. It's the only way." He steps into the fiery surge of the spring, his body consumed by the energy. The village watches in stunned silence as Luyanda makes the ultimate sacrifice. His body disintegrates, his life fading away in a burst of light and power. The curse shatters. The hold of the Water Queen broken at last. The ground quakes one final time, and then, as suddenly as it began, the chaos stops. The village is free, but the cost is great. Amina collapses to her knees, tears streaming down her face. The weight of what has been lost and what has been gained is almost too much to bear. The village will rebuild, but the scar of the past will never truly fade. She looks around at the villagers who have witnessed the end of the curse, the end of the pact. They are free, but they are also forever changed. The forest falls silent, the spirits retreating into the shadows. The Water Queen is no more. The village's fate has been rewritten, and Amina, standing alone on the edge of the spring, knows that the future is uncertain, but it is now theirs to shape. The village buzzes with life, but beneath the celebration lies a quiet sadness. Amina, standing at the center of the crowd, feels the weight of the victory she never asked for. The villagers cheer her name, their voices loud and triumphant, but she can't shake the image of Luyanda's face, his final act of sacrifice etched in her mind. They praise her as a hero, yet in her heart she carries the loss, the destruction, and the guilt that came with it. She fought for freedom, but the cost was a life, his life. The air is different now, thick with change. The curse has been broken, but the land feels different, as if it too is mourning. The spring is no longer the dark, pulsating force it once was, but the absence of its power leaves a strange void. The villagers walk with uncertain steps, unsure of what the future holds without the ancient forces that had once guided them. The land heals, but it is a different kind of healing, a healing that feels more like the slow and painful adjustment to an unknown reality. The elders, once the keepers of the sacred knowledge of the land, gather in quiet meetings, their faces drawn with worry. The very essence of their power, the connection to the Water Queen, has been severed. They no longer have the answers they once did. Their place in the village's new world is uncertain, their ancient wisdom no longer enough to guide them through the changes. They speak of adapting, of finding new ways to lead, but the fear in their eyes betrays their uncertainty. Amina returns home, but the warmth of her parents' embrace does little to ease the tension in the air. Her mother holds her tightly, but there's a sadness in her eyes. Her father, once proud of his daughter's courage, now looks at her with a mix of pride and grief. They have lost something too, their faith in the old ways, their trust in the balance that once defined their lives. Their daughter, the hero, has broken that balance, and the consequences are far-reaching. They must rebuild, not just the village, but their relationship with Amina. The daughter they once knew is now different. The weight of her choices is something they will have to learn to carry, just as she must learn to live with the burden of her actions. As the days pass, the villagers begin to adjust. The elder women, once the keepers of the traditions, find themselves in a new world, one without the threat of the curse to guide them. They had once been the stewards of the rituals, the ones who carried the weight of their ancestors' wisdom. But now they must let go of the past and embrace change. Some resist, holding on to the old ways, but others step forward, eager to shape a new future. The balance of power has shifted, and the villagers must find new ways to live in harmony with the land. In a quiet moment of reflection, Amina stands at the edge of the village, staring out at the horizon. The sun is setting, casting a golden light across the land. She thinks of the journey that brought her here, the pain, the sacrifices, the choices that led to this moment. She thinks of Luyanda, of the lives lost and the lives saved. She thinks of the old ways and of the new. Paths she must now forge. She has broken free from tradition, and in doing so, has created a new future, not just for herself, but for the entire village. As the sun rises the next morning, the village stirs with a quiet hope. The future is uncertain, but there is a sense of possibility in the air. The past is gone, but the lessons it has taught them will remain. Amina, standing among the people, feels the weight of it all, of the past, the present, and the future. The road ahead will not be easy, but it is hers to walk. And as she looks around at the faces of her people, she knows that the journey has only just begun. There is hope in the air, but it is tinged with the knowledge that the cost of freedom is never light. The village moves forward, but it does so with new wisdom. The future may be uncertain, but the people have learned to face it together, stronger and wiser than before. Amina has broken the curse, but in doing so, has also broken the chains of tradition. The village is reborn, but it will never forget the price of its freedom. Amina walks away from the celebration, the cheers fading into the distance as she retreats into the quiet of the night. The weight of the victory lingers on her shoulders, but the joy of freedom feels distant, as if it belongs to someone else. She pauses by the river, staring at the rippling water, its once foreboding surface now calm. It was here that everything began, and now it is here that she reflects on the cost of her choices. The village is free, the curse lifted, but the toll it took to get there is heavy. Luyanda's sacrifice, the destruction, the battle against the spirits, it all weighs on her heart. She won, but at what cost? The village cheers, but she feels no triumph. Freedom was earned with blood, and in that blood something precious was lost. She thinks of the village, its traditions, and the old ways that had bound everyone to the curse. The elders had spoken of balance, of the importance of respecting the land and the spirits, but the cost of that respect was too high. Lives were lost, and the land suffered, all in the name of an old promise, a promise that held the village captive to fear. She understands now that breaking that promise was the only way to free them. The question remains, though, was it worth it? The weight of tradition sits heavily on her. The rituals, the ceremonies, the way of life, they were all part of a system that sustained the village, yet it also shackled them. She had to reject it, to protect the future, to break the cycle. She had to destroy what was once sacred. It was painful. The elders had their wisdom, but it came at a cost. They were afraid of change, afraid of the unknown. But she had learned, through loss and sacrifice, that some things must be let go. The village had clung to the curse for so long, living in fear of the Water Queen. Amina remembers the terror that gripped them whenever the spring's waters surged, the darkness that hung over them like a shadow. It took all her courage to confront that fear, to face the Water Queen, and to reject the old ways. It was more than just a ritual. It was a battle for their future, a battle she had to fight alone. As the moon rises higher, Amina understands the true cost of freedom, the power of choice. She made the decision to end the curse, to break the chain that had bound the village for generations. It was not easy, and the consequences were great, but in the end, it was her choice. And that is where the true power lies. The future of the village, the future of her people, is in her hands. Now, looking back at the village, Amina knows that some things must be left behind. The past, with all its pain and fear, must be laid to rest if they are to move forward. The traditions that once defined them, the rituals that kept them safe, now feel like chains, chains that needed to be broken. It hurts, but she understands now that to move forward the village must change, and change is never easy. the wind stirs, and the sounds of the village fade. She takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of the journey she has just begun. The future is uncertain, but the path ahead is hers to choose. And with that realization, she finds a sense of peace. The price of freedom is high, but it is a price worth paying. The village will rebuild, and they will do so with new wisdom, a wisdom that comes from the courage to break free from the past. The moon shines down on the land, a quiet reminder that sometimes the greatest power lies in letting go. The darkness has passed, and with it the village's future is born. Amina walks back towards the village, her steps firm, her heart lighter. The journey is far from over, but she now knows that the power of choice is what will shape the future. Not fear, not tradition, but the courage to forge a new path.